I think you're a person that has this habit, and I've developed this habit over the years. If you minimize that time from having the negative thought to just accepting the new reality and then getting back to productivity, that's what a fucking winner does, you know? Manu, what are you thinking? How are you?
Hi, Derek. It's good to see you. It's good to see everybody else. It's been a long time. Thanks for sharing all of these great stories and insights. I really enjoy it. I One of the things that I wanted to add to this conversation, which throughout the interviews, I have not been to a live event yet, but I'm looking forward to my upcoming live events with you and the group. Is that no matter what the behavior and the actions required for achieving a certain goal, let it be in martial arts or in anything else, it doesn't really matter if you're a man or a woman, because so often, and we just see the distribution of, the representation of female to male in certain fields. If you want to achieve successes and respect, and you want to achieve certain goals, the path to it is pretty much the same. And although we so often make differences about, or discussions are there about differences, oh, this is because it's a woman, or this is because it's a man, all of these super athletes, and I'm not really very well educated in the world of MMA, I am being introduced to it, the mental thought process, the mental stoicism, the work ethics, and how they approach it. It is completely independent whether it's an XX or an XY chromosome there. It doesn't really matter. The attitude, the approach towards it, the work ethic, the mentorship, the coaches that are required are precisely the same.
Yep.
And so that is something that so often I actually use that with my patients. I said, stop whining with that stuff. It doesn't really matter. You have a goal. You either don't have that goal or you work for it, but don't give me lip service. So
Well, most people like to talk. It's really easy to talk about something, you know? But it's hard to do something that matters. And, if I was just thinking two of the women that were just in this last event. I asked my friend Carla Esparza to come. Carla is the current champion at UFC, 115 pounds. She also was champion years ago. Years ago, she won the title early on, 2013, I think. I think 2013 she was champion for a while, and then lost her belt. And then, kind of, had a lot of ups and downs, and she's later in her career now. She's, her mid-30s. Just got married a doctor, by the way. He's a nice guy. And, she just won her fucking belt. I was in the front row at her fight in Phoenix, I think in April or May. I guess May. Early May, I was in the front row of her fight, and I knew both the girls who were fighting, and I respect both of them, but, and I don't want to say anything bad about the girl that she defeated and took the belt from, but, Carla came to fight that day. Carla was much more aggressive, and the other girl, moved away, that she didn't want to engage so much, and, she lost her belt because of it. So now some assholes will say, oh, the fight was boring. So, well, if you're aggressively, stalking your opponent, you're aggressively moving forward, and the other person, male or female, in this case it was another woman, is, moving away, doesn't want to engage, the fuck you think is, is it your fault that it was boring? Or did you still, does it say something about your skill set that the world champion is
intimidated?
Yeah. So that tells you something about Carla's skills. So anyway, nice woman, very nice woman. I like her husband as well. Fantastic people. I'll tell you a brief story about her. So she cut her honeymoon a day short. She just got married. She went on her honeymoon with her husband. They were in Ireland. And she cut her honeymoon a day short to come do this event with me. She had to change her flights. She knows me, and I talked to her that, she won her belt. I sent her a text that night. The next morning she calls me. She would have had 200 text messages, and thousands of DMs and other noise. She would have had a lot of text messages, but she called me the next day. Not just a text, calls me the next day, chatted with her a little bit. So very happy for her. And I asked Carla to come do this event with me. And she said yes, and she changed her honeymoon to do that. All right. And then she flies from Ireland to London. She's at London Heathrow, and her flight gets canceled. And she sleeps at the fucking airport. She waits in line 6 hours to get her flight rebooked, and then they close the desk and they say they're done for the day. And then she's got to take a nap at the airport, and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. And the whole time she's communicating, she's texting me, and Carla says, hey, this, not a bit of whining, not a little tiny, no whining, no complaining, just the facts, and very apologetic, like she's owning the whole circumstance like it's her fault. So when other people, they say, oh, hey, sorry, bro, my flight got canceled, I guess I can't come, versus the woman she changed her fucking honeymoon to come home a day early to come be with me, to do this event with me. She's going to stop in LA where her, she has a home near Los Angeles, to pick up her championship belt, to bring her belt, to then fly it to Vegas so she can have her belt with her, because I asked her to. All right, and then, flights get canceled. And then she gets just serially abused. And, she says, hey, the soonest I can get there is about 10 p.m. If you want me, I could be there by 10 p.m. with no belt. And she said, if I get a belt, it'd have to be the next morning. And, look, the belt's not a big deal to me. I've seen a few of these things now, okay? I got several friends. There's only 90 people ever. In 30 years, the first UFC belt was handed out in 1993 to my homie Royce Gracie. In 29 years, there's only about 90 people that ever had one of these belts. These are pretty rare. In 29 years, there's 90 people to have one of those belts. Any case, so I said, Carla, the belt, no belt, what's important is that you show up. And I said, let me call Valentina. Let me see if I can get Valentina to come a day early. Valentina Shevchenko is the best pound-for-pound female fighter ever. Valentina is an 8-time UFC champion. She's the current champion at UFC at 125 pounds, so 2 different weight divisions. Carla 115, Valentina 125. Valentina won the belt and defended it 7 times. She's an 8-time champion. All right? She's the best pound-for-pound fighter, female fighter ever. And Valentina, I text Valentina on the busiest day of their year, the busiest week. This is fight week. This is International Fight Week in Las Vegas. It's the busiest week of their year. They got to go sign autographs and sign posters and go to press conferences and make an appearance at the fights and so on and so on. I ask, can Valentina, if she can come a day early? I tell her the situation. No complaining, just facts. Is it possible you could come a day early and take Carla's spot, and Carla will come a day later and take your spot? And she says, well, let me talk to a couple people. And Valentina comes early, and then Carla comes the next day. Carla hasn't, when Carla shows up, she hasn't slept right. She slept 3-4 hours for the last 4 or 5 days. 3-4 hours a day for the last 4 or 5 days. Some of it at an airport on the floor, on a different continent. And she didn't complain. She didn't say one word to complain. There was no complaining. There was no fuss. She showed up. She's just a winner. The girl's just a winner. So I think that plays right into what you were saying. Like those 2 ladies that I just had at this event, if you want to be a champion at something, best in the world at something, it just doesn't help you to have, I'm sure she had a negative thought here or there. A human just does, But somewhere in her head, she has that filter, just like you do, just like I do, that negative thought, expressing that negative thought is not going to contribute to the situation right here. So how do we make the best of the circumstances we have? Okay, let's do that shit. You don't have to like it. That's what I was saying earlier. I don't have to like reality to accept reality. I don't have to like it. I don't have to have great emotions about it. Oh, gee, I'm happy this fucked up shit happens. Well, there's plenty of things that happen in your life and mine that we're not happy about. But you're like, all right, that seems to be the situation. That seems to be reality. That seems to be the truth here. So given that truth, what's the best path forward? And I think if you minimize that time, I think you're a person that has this habit, and I've developed this habit over the years. If you minimize that time from having the negative thought to just accepting the new reality and then getting back to productivity, that's what a fucking winner does, A winner makes a habit of that instead of, I can't imagine you saying, and I would never say, like, something couldn't happen to me that, like, oh, this ruined my whole day. Like, there's nothing that's going to ruin my whole day. If I had a terrible accident, it wouldn't ruin my whole day. It'd be like, well, That's fucked, but how do we make the best of it? And I had plenty of tests in life to affirm this to me, that that's just the truth. So yeah, I agree. For male or female, the people just like their fucking excuses more than they like their goals. And if you're really a person that's in love with your goals, if you're the type of person that's in the habit of helping yourself and helping others, then you have some guidance. You have some structure or some integrity, some integral structure, where you're like, well, I understand what I feel like right now. I don't try to suppress my feelings, by the way. I let myself feel whatever I feel, but then pretty soon I have a filter. I'm like, all right, is that going to help me accomplish something right now? Is wallowing in a negative feeling, what's the optimal amount of time that I should experience this negative emotion before I get back to productivity? And sometimes somebody died, somebody you care about died, or something like that happens, and maybe you allow yourself to have a little negative feeling in the back of your head for a little while, but it's not an excuse to not go get shit done. And a lot of people, they like that excuse. It's almost a celebration. A bum likes it when something like that comes up, when, oh, there's a death in my family, I can go fuck off all week now. That could be my excuse all week, and nobody's going to say shit to me. Or, oh, I got COVID, so that means I can go fuck off for 2 weeks, and nobody's going to say anything to me. Or, my flight got canceled, so now I don't have to show up anymore. Losers like it when some externality happens, that they get to use that as an excuse to be a loser for the whole fucking week. And winners, they just accept that quickly, and they think, all right, that's unfortunate that, that seems to be the truth of my circumstances. That's unfortunate. I wish it was otherwise, but here we are. So given this new reality, how do we make the best of the circumstance? And then you go do it. So I think that's the point. That's my version. I think that's the point that you were getting to, is it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman or some confused person. That there's a lot of people that are confused now. They don't know if they're a man or a woman or a cat or a dog, or they're reluctant to have any firm opinion about what sort of creature they might be. But male, female, or confused, I think that the sooner you could accept reality and get refocused on, well, these seem to be my current circumstances, and how do I make the best of the circumstances? And kind of take inventory. What are my assets? What are my opportunities here? Or if there was an opportunity, what might it be? Because your brain might still feel a little depressed or a little foggy, and you might not want to think of an opportunity. So then you got to play a different mind game. So, well, if there was an opportunity, what might it look like? If somebody else were to find an opportunity here, where would they start? Okay, let me do that too. So sometimes you got to play little mind games with yourself to get yourself engaged again. But winners do that quickly.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if it's a mind game or whether it's analyzing your current situation and the status quo that you're at, and basically re-strategizing from that position on, and with focus on your goal. I mean, and that I think, and that's what you said, Derek, so nicely, goes back to no matter what you are and who you are in life, male, female, or I don't know how you call it,
confused, I called it.
Thank you. So that's good. Confused. I know an on is in front of it, but I forgot the rest of the word. It's you're a foreigner, you're not a foreigner in a country, you come from somewhere else. You have certain goals, you have to analyze, you have to see what it is, you have to get the mentorship and people and the support around it, and then just work your ass off and achieve it and update. It's like I always call it's like an iPhone update, to refocus yourself and to reanalyze and see what it is. And then hopefully you'll perform better. Yeah.
A friend of mine is this lady named Kerri Walsh, is another amazing lady. That Kerri Walsh is I think she's the best female volleyball player ever. She's on my YouTube right now. Well, Kerri's a nice lady. I just put a video on my YouTube channel today with Kerri and I, and then she if you look at Kerri's Instagram right now, then she posted a clip of us today. So I was just chatting with her today, and she posted a nice clip of us on her Instagram today. But Kerri won 3 gold medals and a bronze medal. Now, you could only win 1 medal per Olympics in her sport. You can only win 1 every 4 years. So she got, gold medal, 4 years later, gold medal, 4 years later, gold medal, 4 years later, bronze medal. She's not very happy about that bronze medal. she gets a little feisty when, thinking about it or talking about it. So she was one match away, obviously, from she would have the gold medal instead of the bronze medal. But anyway, this is if there's she's the closest thing to like a Tom Brady or a Michael Jordan type character, like a female athlete. She's very much that type of person. That there was a time in her career where she won 112 matches in a row against other professionals, not against bums on the beach, not against just some bums at the YMCA, against other professional teams. Her and her partner, Misty May, won 112 matches in a row. 112. That's nobody did that. No man or woman in any sport, who's more dominant than that? So she is so much better than the rest of the professionals in her sport. It's really an extraordinary domination. You need 21 points to win. And she said that in her head that her opponent was never supposed to have more than 15. So she expected that her and her partner needed to get to 21, and she didn't want the other team to have 20 or 18 or some shit. In her head, they're not allowed more than 15. So that's how she played, and she's very nice on the surface. She's a very nice lady, but also a furious competitor inside. That very just as strong as a Tom Brady, a Michael Jordan. One of these, idealized, iconic type people. That she's very much that type of a person. So I have a lot of respect for Kerri. But yeah, man, that's what it is. She'll say it in nicer words. She'll say the same things that you and I are talking about. She'll say it a little bit nicer, but in reality, she's a fucking furious competitor. She's a furious competitor.
You have to, yeah. Hardest sport ever. I was yesterday actually at a basketball game. My nieces are visiting me here, and the Storm game. And it hit me that Sue Bird, the captain of the team, who is kind of like an equivalent maybe to a Tom Brady, who she played, I think, 18 or 20 years professional female basketball. I don't know how many times they went to the Olympics, All-American, and I don't have the stats on her. But you speaking about Kerri, I had to think about her. That is somebody else. And she's 41 years old now, and she's still playing. I think this is the last season that she's playing. And she looks, just as you was talking about Royce, the physique, the fitness and all of that, really admirable. It's a lifestyle.
In 1993, when Royce Gracie won his first UFC title at the first tournament ever, and at that time you didn't have one fight. At that time it was a tournament, so you had 3 fights that night. And then the second one, when he went to defend his title, he had to fight 4 men that night. He had to beat 4 different men in the same night. And there was no weight divisions. So he had to fight guys that are a lot bigger than him, that are 250 pounds. He's 180 pounds. You got to fight men that are 250. He fought a fucking sumo wrestler that's like 430, I think.
He did?
Yeah. And the people are saying, at first, before the fight, they're saying, what are you thinking? Like, if this guy just falls on you, you're going to die. He's like, they're telling him not to do it. He fought a sumo wrestler. It was a very famous and well-respected sumo wrestler, like one of the best, And, 400 and something pounds. He's 180. And he beat the guy. And then everybody later, everybody told him, don't do this. You're going to get hurt. It's going to be bad. And then after he beat the guy, then they were, well, yeah, that's easy. He's fat and, he's not as fast as you. So, the haters make excuses. Winners make progress. But, Royce at that time, he said he's, 180 pounds and, 11-12% body fat. 29 years later, he's still 180 pounds, 11.7%. Those in-body tests, that type of scale.
Yes.
Yeah, they're not perfect, but it's about the best there is. That's what they have at my doctor's office, so that's why I bought it. So I spent $10,000 for the fucking scale, and so it's probably not 100% perfect, but it's about the best you could get. So yeah, he's still maintained. That's part of his integrity is to, that's in his head. He's supposed to maintain that standard. He's supposed to maintain that standard, and he's more than twice that age now, and he still has done that. So, and Valentina, by the way, I mentioned Valentina, 8-time UFC champion, won the belt, then defended it 7 times. Before that, she was a 17-time kickboxing champion. So, 25-time champion. So so when you think about people like this, or another friend of mine is a Dutch kickboxing guy named Henry Hooft, and Henry's about 10 years older than me. Henry won 103 professional fights in kickboxing. He's a world champion. He defended his title 27 times. He defended, against the number one contender, against the other, highest level guy in the world. Defended his title 27 times. So, these type of personalities is like, that person's not 5% better than their opponent. They're not 10% better than their opponent. It's all those little things. It's all those little details that you understand. It's all those little details that, what are the behaviors you're going to engage in when nobody else in the world would know except you? When nobody else would know except you, are you going to make the extra effort, do the extra thing, keep everything good? When Carla came to the hotel, Carla checked in. I booked her a room, okay? I booked her a room. She had her own flights, etc. I paid for her room to come, stay there. And I didn't buy her just a room. I bought her a nice suite. It's twice the size of a regular room. It's very nice for her and her husband to stay there. She arrives a day and a half late. So I got to go down to the front desk. I'm already in bed. I was with the clients until after 4. I was with my team until after 5. I went, I go eat a bag of almonds at 5:30 in the morning, and I'm getting myself settled. I'm about to go to bed. And I realize Carla wrote me hours ago, 10 p.m., 8 p.m., 10 p.m. the night before. She wrote me, she says, hey, my flight lands at 8:05. Am I going to be able to check in early? Do you think I can check into the hotel early? And I told her, 100%, I'll take care of it. I'm in front of the group. I don't have time to have a conversation. I just sent her a couple words. I said, 100%, I'll make sure. Well, now it's 6:10 in the morning. She's going to land in less than 2 hours. What should I do? I haven't talked to the front desk. Her reservation, she's supposed to check in a day and a half ago. I haven't talked to them. So is it okay for me just to go to bed and it's going to get figured out? What should I do? Should I pick up the phone and just call whatever random asshole answers the phone down there? No, I got to put my clothes back on. It's 6:10 in the morning. I got to put my clothes back on. I got to go downstairs. I got to go talk to, there's a lady at the front desk that I know and she knows me. That's fine. I'll talk to her. But I also got to talk to the shift manager. I got to talk to the manager that's in charge at that moment. So I say, hey, get him, bring him out here. Let's have a conversation together. And I got to ask him, like, hey, this lady's coming to check in. She lands in less than 2 hours, and then she's coming here. When she gets here in 2.5, 3 hours, is there any problem that she's, I can't have somebody tell her, hey, check-in's at 3 o'clock. So I don't mind paying for the nights that she didn't use it. I reserved the room. You held the room for me. It was available for her. That's my fault. That's my problem. But when she gets here, she needs to be able to check into the room, at 8:30, 9 o'clock, not 3 p.m., not normal check-in time, So I got to talk to the manager. He's like, it's going to be no problem. I said, are you going to be working? Are you going to be working? I said, I'm going to text her your name. So, and then I get to go back and go to sleep at 7 in the fucking morning. But, a lot of people wouldn't do that. But how are you going to not do that when she's done what she's done to make things work out? What kind of asswipe would I got to get up. I told her 100%. I got to get out of bed. I got to put my clothes back on because this is the difference with some bum. They pick up the phone and they say, hey, I called downstairs and they said it would be okay. They said everything's going to be. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. I called and they said it'd be okay. But that's not the standard that we're looking for here, That's not the standard that she was holding herself to. She took a day off her honeymoon. She's been traumatized 10 different ways and she's still showing up. So, you get it. I'm kind of making the point to other people here is like, there's times where when you're even having a debate, is it okay to do the easier thing right now and then make an excuse? Or should you go do the thing that you're supposed to do? Just go do the thing that you're supposed to do. Just go do the thing that you're supposed to do. Just do that. And when you start having that debate in your mind, that should be the red flag to tell you, oh, this is one of those moments where I either have to go do the thing that I know that I'm supposed to do, that I don't feel like doing at the moment, or I could do the normal person thing, And maybe it wouldn't be my fault, but it's still something that's totally avoidable. It's still going to make a difference in somebody's life that's important to you, or it might make a difference in your future, you know? So yeah, when she shows up, she's got to be able to check in. It's got to be easy. There has to be, that manager has to, you know, if that gets fucked up for any reason, if that gets fucked up, he's got to look me in the eye a few hours from now and have a conversation about that. You don't want to have that conversation either, you know? So it has to be that way. I have to show up, and I was very nice to him, and he was very nice to me. But there's also an accountability mechanism in there when I look him in the eye and say, "You're going to make sure this is good, right?" And he says, he looks me in the eye and says, "You know, don't worry about it. It's going to be good. Everything. She's going to have no problem." And I know this guy enough that, you know, now I can go to sleep. But I would never just let that, you know. I'm like, oh, I'm already in bed. It'll work itself out. Or, oh, let me just call the front desk and we'll see, you know, I'll tell them and then it'll be okay. Or, you know, I could have just stayed in bed. I could have called down. I could have just talked to the first person at the front desk. But we had to go to like level 4 there and go talk to the manager in person, have the conversation in person. You have, you know, 5 assurances from him that, you know, no, I got this, you're good. So, you know, people don't do that. And then they wonder, you could have stopped 4 steps earlier and just, oh, I'm just going to go to sleep and it'll work itself out. But, you know, I wouldn't have these sort of relationships with these people if I was that type of person, because they're not that type of person. They're not that type of person. So they can't hang out with somebody who is that type of person. So you understand that.
Very true. Well, thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to meeting again soon in person with everybody.
Are you here in September? You're here in August, both?
In August and September.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. You're gonna have a great time. You're gonna love it. You're gonna have a fantastic time.
I was living on my coach's living room on a mattress. You know, I ended up like just bouncing at a bar. I'd been a cop. I quit my job. And
Derek Moneyberg presents 10 Commandments of Wealth.
Took the gamble on myself to become a successful professional fighter and make it to the UFC or Pride, and at the time. And
am I making a sacrifice right now, or am I just investing in a better future? So it's easier for me to make those decisions when I think about it is like, oh.
Yeah, absolutely. And now that you mention it, having to actually really process and think about it, I think that word sacrifice is kind of like, I believe it's the word that the ones at the top kind of use to make everyone else feel better about it. Because when you're at the top, now you realize that was an investment.
Was everything just golden and easy and handed to you, or did you have a little struggle yourself along the way?
No. Yeah, in 2013 and 2015, I was living out of my car, you know, full time, and I was too proud to ask for help. Like, how ridiculous is that? You're living out of your car and you think you know it all. And 2015, that's when I kind of I knew that I didn't know it all. So why not find experts in that and really shortcut that? I thought I was going to just chip away. I thought I was just going to read books till I was an expert. I never really talked to anyone that actually did it.
It's been about a week since I've joined the 10 Commandments of Wealth program, and there's so many interviews that are offered in this program. I'm inside the Derek Moneyberg 10 Commandments of Wealth program. This is an awesome program that you're gonna love. I'm gonna use the principles and the knowledge from this program to help me boost my leads in my marketing firm. Buy this program, it's a wonderful investment for your future. You won't regret it and you'll absolutely love it.